Hello, bonjour. My name is Bernadette Martin, and I'm a Thunderbird graduate from the class of '84. I'm also a member of the Thunderbird Global Alumni Network Advisory Board. I'm also a storyteller. And today I want to help all of you, whether you're a student, an alumni, a Tegan board member, a professor, staff at Thunderbird. I want to help you to tell the amazing Thunderbird story because, as you know, we have so much to talk about. Thunderbird is the world's top ranked #1 Masters in Management, as well the #1 university in the US for innovation. Plus, we have this amazing new campus that's going to be opening up in 2021. The Thunderbird story, there's a lot there to say. And we are all the outward facing brand image of Thunderbird. Specifically, I'm going to talk about how this can be messaged on your LinkedIn profile. Why? Because if you're on LinkedIn and if you Google yourself, you'll find that your LinkedIn profile comes up at the top of your search results. That's where people are going. There's over 550 million professionals on LinkedIn. There are actually 6 different areas on your LinkedIn profile where you can message the Thunderbird brand because we are all the outward facing brand image of Thunderbird. I wanted to show you some examples of where you can integrate the Thunderbird brand into your LinkedIn messaging. And I'm going to identify in terms of the 6 different areas where you can message the Thunderbird brand. But let me start with talking about the heading. So here is Maria Hull, who is the program director at Thunderbird for the Share Fellowship Program. And she chose for her background to scream the brand Thunderbird with the flags and with the fact that Thunderbird is the #1 Masters in Management. So I wanted to highlight her background feature, which is appropriate for her target. This could also be appropriate target or background image for current students, recent graduates. Really, it depends on your target, your direction, and your goals. Secondly, I wanted to talk about the About section, where you can also message your Thunderbird story. And here I wanted to pull up the profile of Stacy Abella. So I've worked with Stacy, as she's also a Tegan or Thunderbird Global Alumni Network member, and she chose to message her Thunderbird degree in the About section. So here I want to talk about how you can feature the Thunderbird brand in the About section, which is my favorite section. Why? Because that's the storytelling part. So she followed, because we worked together, she followed my suggested structure, which is with, a very high level first paragraph, just a snapshot. And here, as you can see, she messaged her MBA from Thunderbird School of Global Management. But furthermore, Stacy also messaged Thunderbird in her education section, more than just mentioning Thunderbird School of Global Management, but actually diving deeper, talking about the honors that she received, the client projects that she worked on. Now, this is all great for SEO purposes. Another example of where the Thunderbird brand can feature in the About section is with Thomas. Now, his background feature is very international, like most Thunderbirds. But further to that, in terms of working together, we messaged the Thunderbird brand in his first paragraph, which I believe my suggested structure is to have the first paragraph just a very high-level snapshot. And sure enough, there it is, Thunderbird School of Global Management, he messages. And my recommendation is, instead of just saying Thunderbird, give it the whole full name, Thunderbird School of Global Management. So that's an example of how another T-Bird messaged the brand Thunderbird in his LinkedIn profile. Let me give you another example. Okay, this is Scott Kravitz. Now we also worked together, and he as well messaged Thunderbird in his About section. But furthermore, I wanted to point out how Scott also messaged under education, not just a mere mention of Thunderbird School of Management, but he identifies its activities and societies. Further to that, under the volunteer experience section, he messaged that he was the chapter president. And I know for a lot of you out there who are chapter leaders, you have done so much for Thunderbird, for your colleagues, for other T-Birds. Well, you can message that under volunteer experience. So here he messages that he was the San Diego chapter president, and he took gives some details in terms of what he did. Excellent. So that's just an example of how to message your Thunderbird brand and your T-Bird story under accomplishments, which is organizations, and also in the About section. But for those of you like myself who have a voluntary role, I also consider it as experience. So let me just pull up my profile to show you where even if you're a chapter leader, chapter president, Tegan board member, drop it into experience. There's no set criteria for what you can put under experience, and that is experience. So let's go to my profile to see how I messaged my experience with Thunderbird. All right, well, in the heading, I mentioned that I'm an alumni board member. And in the About section, of course, I strongly mentioned that my Thunderbird degree. I even have a dedicated paragraph for Thunderbird. But further to that, under experience, I identified that I'm a board member with Tegan, the Thunderbird Global Alumni Network. But for those of you who are chapter leaders, that is experience as well. You can message it under experience. In addition, under education, of course, I have to walk the talk, right? Under education, I give more than just the basic information that I went to Thunderbird, but identify what is Thunderbird. And under volunteer experience, I identify that I'm vice president of the France alumni chapter, and that I've had different roles with Thunderbird. So there's lots of areas where you as a Thunderbird or connected with Thunderbird in some way, a stakeholder, as they say, that you can message the brand Thunderbird. So that's a little bit under experience. In conclusion, I've identified the 6 different areas where you can message the Thunderbird brand. And again, it depends on your goals, your direction, and who your target is. So you can scale up or down messaging the Thunderbird brand because, of course, it's just a component of your overall story. In closing, I would like to say that my way of gifting to my favorite network in the world, which is Thunderbird, I'd be delighted to send you my ebook called Storytelling About Your Brand Online and Offline, which features many T-Birds, as well if you want to schedule a chat about your story. So just shoot me an email and we can arrange that. All to say, I hope that our paths cross in 2021 at the opening of our new campus. And to say that the Thunderbird mystique is alive and thriving.